Oh, hello. All eyes over here. Disappear!
When I'm with you, I don't wanna be with you.
Back sooner than you expected, huh? Well, today we're taking a look at the next two Blokees Marvel Rivals model kits, Susan Storm, or Invisible Woman, and Jeff the Land Shark. Honestly, you have no idea how surreal it is we got a Sue this quickly. Look, I'm not going to sit here all day and tell you how unique this character design is, because it really just boils down to a hot blonde woman in sci-fi spandex. But as someone who spent an ungodly amount of time playing her, I've been desperately hoping she'd get a figure at some point. So when we first got that tease at Wonderfest back in October, it easily could have been a cheeky joke, but I knew in my heart of hearts I had something to look forward to. And here she is, in the plastic, and it's still so bizarre. Again, I love Sue, but the fact that we got her before Luna, Squirrel Girl, even Psylocke is in both ways strange and very comforting. It's like Mr. Blocky is listening directly to my plea.
Hey, thank you, but think we can get the rest of the Fantastic Four now? Pretty please, with a cherry on top?
I'm incredibly impressed with how they managed to capture Sue's design here. All the different parts of the costume details, including those microscopic little bumps running across most of her suit, it's absolutely
fantastic.
Say that again?
Once again though, I feel like one of the biggest flaws with these kits is while the sculpts and all the little details are ridiculously impressive, the lack of certain paint hits and extra details do make things a little less appealing. Yeah, I know, they're model kits. The whole idea is that you can put in the extra effort to make them more game accurate, but I'm lazy and me want toy look good. There should be more blue on the back of her legs and on the sides. And she's missing all of her silver bits from the elbows and the knees to the part on her back. Is this the end of the world? Yeah. I will say, I'm actually quite impressed with her likeness. Some of the promo pics made it look a lot cheaper and softer than her features probably should be, but in hand, it's much closer than I ever would have expected. Also, hey, the first actual head sculpt in the Rivals line. That's pretty neat. Ultimately, all that matters is that she looks like Rivals Sue. She looks like Rivals Sue. You know what else looks like Rivals Sue? Articulation. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Ball joint in the head is pretty limited, but gets good side to side. Ball joint at the neck gets farther up, and shockingly good down. Butterfly shoulders allow for slight forward movement, good down. Ball joints at the shoulders and a hinge, which allows for pretty good up, especially considering her unique shoulder pads. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows allow for great bend, and hinge and swivel at the wrist pegs. Sue's one of the only model kits so far that only has one ball joint in the upper torso. I assume this was done to not break up her sculpt too much, plus the ad assembly would have been really tiny. I don't know. Decent crunch, great arc back. Ball joints at the legs, as well as drop down hips to allow for extra leg movement. Though her bum does kind of get in the way. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees, hinge and swivels at the ankles, and of course the toe joints. Susie here does take away a consistent articulation point between these kits with the lack of another torso joint, and instead opts out for a more like Legend style approach, albeit with much smoother range. Honestly, should probably bug me, but it kind of doesn't. Sue doesn't really hit crazy poses in the game. She's much more reserved and subtle with her movements, which fits her strategist role well. Calm, careful, collected, but she also won't hesitate to push your entire team off a ledge. It's for that reason I haven't really had too much trouble getting her into all sorts of poses, and she's honestly just really fun to mess around with. The more you think outside the box with her, the more fun I think she can be. But that's also probably aided by a pretty decent set of accessories. She comes with 3 pairs of hands total, 2 fists, open hands, and another set of open hands with pegs in the palms for the included power effects. And these look super dope. It's always great to get a representation of a character's power set, especially when it's so integral to who they are. But that's not all. Also included is this little stand, not for Susie herself, but for this massive hexagon shield effect. And hot damn, this thing looks sick. You can use it as one of her self shields, or use it to help her friends out in a pinch. It's not particularly accurate to the game, but I don't really care. It still looks great and I'm super happy for its inclusion. I'd say that's plenty of accessories for her. Maybe an alternate serious head for when she's in combat, but like I mentioned earlier, this calm exterior fits Sue so well in game, so I think this loadout is more than enough. And that's all I really have to say.
Aside from the obvious thing you gooners have all been waiting for me to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna shove her up my ass. What were you guys thinking? Get your minds out of the gutters, you filthy pigs. This is for my cured meats, I'll have you know. You sick perverts. Now let's take a look at her fishy friend. Finding out Blokees was giving us a Jeff the Land Shark was like discovering water is wet. Like, no shit. Jeff is easily the most popular thing to come out of Rivals. And sure, he was a character beforehand in West Coast Avengers in 2018, but Rivals kinda took him, upped the puppy dog factor, gave him an adorable voice, and it's really no wonder why he became so popular. He really is the perfect mascot. That's probably why we've seen so many other companies jump onto the Jeffrey bandwagon, and failing pretty hard in my opinion. So here comes Mr. Blokees, once again deciding to absolutely mog the shit out of all the other companies, by giving us what will probably end up being the best Jeff figure out there. Cause look at this little guy, he's damn near perfect. I feel like a broken record at this point after reviewing 5 other kits, but they've absolutely nailed this design. From the stubby limbs, the big puppy dog eyes, the markings on his back, the collar, and most importantly, look at his real paws, oh my gosh! Genuinely surprised these weren't just an unpainted detail, but nah, you gotta show off those pads. Speaking of broken records, he is of course missing a couple details, but honestly they're so minor it's barely worth even bringing up. Like there should be markings on his tail like his back, and his teeth should probably be a bit smaller and sharper, but they were probably worried about kids tearing open their hands trying to play with their cute Jeffy figure. Focusing on that shark maw for just a sec, the jaw is actually articulated, which is really fun and allows for a few more options. But because of that setup, the face can look a little weird. That's just the trade-off for this design choice, and it doesn't bug me as much as I thought it would. Speaking of articulation, ball joint at the head allows for some great neck movement, more down than up. Previously mentioned hinged jaw. Ball joint inside the mouth allows for the tongue to move a bit alongside his other accessories, which we'll get to in a bit. Eyes are also on ball joints, but they are a bit hard to move and I don't really want to. Name tag is on a hinge if you care about that sort of thing. Front legs are on ball joints with great outwards movement, but not a lot of back and forth. Hinge and swivels at the knees, and his paws are on little ball joints. No toe hinges? Outrageous. Exact same setup for the back legs. Ball joint, hinge, swivel, ball joint. Base of the tail is on a ball joint, and his tail fin's also on a ball joint. Jeffrey here obviously has the most unique articulation setup so far, but also so effectively simple. He just straight up doesn't need that much to be a fun figure. But don't be like Hasbro or God forbid Hot Toys and don't make him have next to no articulation. I wasn't worried about his movement for a second. After seeing what they could pull off with some of their simple Pokemon designs, I knew they could nail it. Maybe he could look up a little more, or have an extra ball joint in the tail, but those are very minor things and definitely aren't needed. But you know what is needed? A decent set of accessories. Young Jeff does come with 2 separate pairs of tongues. One a little flatter, and one where he's really begging for scraps. Aside from those, you can also use this water blast effect for the ball joint as well. I can either see this being used as quick shots he does for the enemies, or as stream when he heals his homies. Taking his fin off, you also get an effect piece for when Jeff magically is able to swim through the land itself, and this seems to be a constant with other Jeffs on the market. And finally, this alternate pair of eyes. I'm gonna be so for real, I have no idea what this is supposed to be. His main set are actual eyeballs. These are like flat pieces with round trans blue caps on them. I'm gonna take a guess and assume these are for when his eyes are underwater? For photography, maybe? I really have no idea. If anyone figures it out, just let me know. I'm very satisfied with this loadout for our precious land shark. I would have loved alternate faceplates for different expressions, but with the setup they went with, I understand why they chose to just stick to the one face. I really do wish he came with a bubble though. That would have been a super cute addition. Hell, I probably would have bought a couple extras just to throw a few bubbles in the display around Jeff and his allies. For how simple not just the kit is, but Jeff is as a character, I really do think this is a very respectable selection of accessories. Obviously, I wouldn't have said no to more, but I'm certainly not mad about it. Throwing up Jeff and Sue next to each other, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the size difference. Jeff's a pretty big boy in game, so this is pretty close to how he should look. In fact, putting him with other human-type characters, I really have nothing to harp on about. This makes me very happy. It's when we add the other 3 when things start to crack a bit. Especially you, Rocket, you ruin everything. It's obviously when you put them next to other 1/12 scale figures where things start to get a little out of whack. Jeff isn't too bad though, sort of an intermediate size between comics and Rivals, so he's pretty fudgeable, I'd say. But Sue? Nah, no way, unless she's canonically a shrunken babe. Overall, I'm completely over the moon with these two. It's still so insane to me that we got a Susan Storm this early, and while it feels amazing to have a plastic representation of my actual wife, she definitely deserves her family too, who I'm hoping we see at least one of them announced very soon. She's a bit more basic, especially in the torso, but I really don't mind. She's able to hit all the poses she can from the game and then some. And even with some missing paint hits, she looks like a damn good Sue. But as much as it personally pains me to say it, I think Jeff is the winner here. He's stupidly simple in concept, but executed to near perfection. Just an absolute blast to mess around with, and I'd easily recommend him as your first Blokees model kit. Even Sue is pretty simple to build, but Jeffrey is absolutely an entry-level kit. Plus, with his size, he can easily go in a Marvel Legends display, as long as you're not too picky. The last 3 I reviewed here were a little all over the place, but here, it felt like a breath of fresh air. Mr. Blokees, you're doing good shit over there. Keep at it. I hope you continue to make as many characters as possible. Thank you everyone for watching, and as always, don't forget to ignite the battle.
Another epic victory! Big win!
I had strings, but now I'm